Just a reminder that this video is equipped with chapters. Feel free to skip or jump into the chapters that you like. Alright. We have here the brand new Honor 400, which I have been using and testing for more than a month already. I will not go through the details of the specs and unboxing anymore, as I have already discussed that in a separate video posted about 5 weeks before this one. I will pop up the link of the said video now, which you can also find in the video description below. Just to summarize, the package here in the Philippines comes with a clear jelly case and a 100-watt charging brick, which are not included in other regions like Europe. Also notable is that the Honor 400 released in the Philippines has a 6000 mAh battery capacity, which is bigger as compared to those released in Europe that are only 5300 mAh. Honor 400 is a mid-range smartphone launched in June 2025 with a price tag of 23,000 Philippine pesos on its one and only variant in the Philippines, which is 12 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage. It runs Android 15 with Magic OS and is powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 chipset. It features a 6.55-inch AMOLED display. It also sports a 200-megapixel main camera, a 12-megapixel ultra-wide, and a 50-megapixel front camera. It omits a telephoto lens which is only available on its Pro version. And another plus here, the unit comes with a built-in screen protector, so your phone is initially protected while you wait for the tempered glass that you ordered. Honor 400 comes with 3 colors in the Philippines. The Tidal Blue, Midnight Black, and Desert Gold, which is the color that I purchased. This compact mid-ranger hosts a 6.55-inch OLED display and measures 156.5 by 74.6 mm and a stunning 7.3 mm thickness, or should I say thinness. And it only weighs 184 grams, so it's noticeably slimmer and easier to handle than many mid-range phones out there. The top houses one of the 2 speakers, an IR blaster, and a microphone hole. While the power button and the volume rocker can be found on the right side. You can find at the bottom the second speakers, the USB Type-C charging port, the dual SIM tray, along with the primary microphone. The left side is empty, no buttons nor any holes or antenna lines. The SIM tray can host 2 nano SIM cards and does not support for memory expansion. There's an eSIM support here as well, but if you use the eSIM, it will take over the slot of your second SIM. Visually it's modern and restrained. Flat front and back, flat sides, a tidy rounded trapezoid camera module, and matte colorways that hide fingerprints and help grip. A very elegant look for this price class. It feels premium, but there's mixed reporting on whether the frame is true metal. If you care about raw materials, that's worth noting. The Honor 400 comes with an IP65 splash and dust rating. Fine for rain and spills, but not for submersion. So it's safer in daily life but less water secure than IP67 or 68 rivals. Against peers like the Galaxy A56, Honor usually wins on sleekness and pocketability. If you want a stylish, slim, pleasantly premium feeling and an easy-to-hold mid-ranger, Honor 400 should definitely be on top of your list. The display of the Honor 400 sports a sharp 2736 by 1264 resolution and a smooth 120Hz refresh rate. All good foundations for a crisp modern viewing experience. The display has a very thin bezels and can brighten up to 5000 nits peak brightness, but real-world testing measured around 1600 nits in typical usage scenarios. Still plenty bright, reliably readable even in strong sunlight, which is impressive especially if you are in the Philippines, which is 95% summer every year. In a dark situation, the ultra-low minimum brightness is just 1.5 nits, which is very pleasant to the eye before going to bed. Stellar factory calibration with an average delta E of 1.22, and just for reference, a 0 delta E means a perfect match between what our eyes can see and the display. So 1.22 delta E means colors look vibrant and accurate and very close to what your eyes can see. The XO mark placed the Honor 400's display around 30th globally and 4th among mid-range phones, with high scores in readability and color. And just like the Honor Magic 7, this phone also have all the bells and whistles for its users' eye comfort, which is always appreciated. Comparing to other mid-range phones, the Honor 400 holds up nicely with its color accuracy and better resolution, though some may edge with their higher peak brightness, like the Galaxy A56 or Google's Pixel 9a. The only downside I experience in this display is the touch smoothness and scrolling, which felt slightly throttled to 90 Hz sometimes. The Honor 400 delivers a vivid, sharp, and well-calibrated 120Hz AMOLED panel that's excellent for everyday use and even outdoor viewing. Although, don't expect record-breaking brightness or buttery smooth touch in every scenario. For most users, it's a standout mid-ranger display. Honor 400 has stereo speakers. One on top and one on the bottom, and no 3.5mm headphone jack, so private listening means Bluetooth earbuds or wired USB Type-C dongle. Have a listen on its quality. The speakers are loud and clear for the class. It has a decent loudness with low harmonic distortion at high volume, so video watching and casual gaming sounds good without obvious shrieks. If you want punchy audio for social videos or conference calls, it's more than serviceable. It's not a music lover's phone though. You can expect modest bass and a mid-range that's fine and competent, but not studio grade nor spectacular. Also, there are some inconsistencies with Bluetooth audio where there's a narrow or centered stereo field on certain units, so wireless listening experience can vary. It could also be just my earbuds, I don't know. Against typical mid-range phones, the Honor 400 holds its own for loudness and clarity, but doesn't outclass phones that emphasize richer speaker tuning. Many rivals also lack a headphone jack, but some may offer marginally fuller sound stage or extra audio tuning options in their software. If speaker volume and clear voice calls matter most, the Honor 400 is very competitive. If you want deep bass or hi-fi headphone output without a DAC, you might need to look elsewhere. Overall, it has a solid stereo speakers for media and calls. Loud, clean, and dependable sound, but not audiophile grade yet. Bluetooth experience may vary, but I'm sure if you toss on a good pair of Bluetooth earbuds or headset, you'll experience real music vibes on this. The Honor 400 uses an in-display optical fingerprint sensor plus face recognition via the front camera, which is the standard modern mid-range combo. The fingerprint reader is convenient and mostly reliable for everyday unlocking. It works well enough for quick phone access and overall a smooth day-to-day experience. If you prefer the fastest and least fussy unlock for calls, apps and payments, it gets the job done. Although, the placement is really low. So even when the sensor works well, I always miss the spot because it is very low, and it's the same effect as an inconsistent fingerprint reader. Also, optical in-display sensors are usually a touch slower and a bit more finicky than ultrasonic readers. They can struggle with wet or greasy fingers and thick screen protectors. So naturally, my Honor Magic 7 Pro is faster than this, but made for about 1 second or less, so it's not that big of a deal. Face unlock on the Honor 400 is convenient but less secure than strong biometric alternatives and can be impacted by lighting, masks, or angles. Personally, I don't really use it since, as mentioned, it is less secured. This biometric setup mirrors most mid-range rivals. Many Galaxy A models and Pixel A family phones also rely on optical in-screen sensors or side-mounted readers, while ultrasonic fingerprint tech remains mostly a flagship feature. In practice that means the Honor 400 is on par with its mid-range peers. Convenient and competent, but not class-leading in biometric speed or toughness. The Honor 400 packs a 6000 mAh battery, but again, in other regions it's only 5300, like in Europe. It is a silicon-carbon battery which supports up to 80 watts wired fast charging. There's no wireless charging here though. In my usual usage of mostly social media, YouTube, browsing, and some gaming, the juice can easily last a full day and a half. I usually end my day with 30 to 40% left in the tank and get 6.5 hours of screen on time before I need to recharge. Charging is also good using the 100-watt charging brick that comes in the box. But again, do note that the phone can only charge up to a maximum of 80 watts. From 0 to 30% takes about 15 minutes. By 30 minutes it usually charges up to 55% and then fully charge around 50 minutes. I always use the supercharging boost mode by the way when charging. It usually activates by itself, but if it don't, you just need to long tap on the charging animation circle. Not using the boost will naturally take longer time to fully charge the phone, probably 70 to 80 minutes. The Honor 400 won't win endurance marathons, but it performs well enough for real-world users and charges super fast. It's a great companion for a full day and a fast recharge between meetings or episodes. Considering that this phone is almost in the compact size category, this is very impressive. Now let's take a quick tour of the Honor 400 5G's AI tricks and other neat extras. It's trying to make AI actually fun, not just buzzwords. First up, the headline act. Image to video. Honor bundles an AI tool and gallery that animates still photos into short realistic-looking 4-5 second clips. It's a real showstopper for social clips. This feature is unique to Honor 400 and even my flagship Magic 7 Pro do not have this. I've already created a separate shorts video about this in more details. I'll pop up the link in the screen now, and you can also find the link in the video description below. Going back to the AI features, Honor 400 is also bundled with other AI tools like Magic Text, Magic Portal, Subtitle, Translate, Writing and Deepfake detection. In the gallery, you have AI edits creative tools like AI Eraser, Upscale, Cutout, and Outpainting, which I've also created as separate shorts videos as well. You can visit the Ribby trivia channel and check out the shorts videos for this. These tools are easy to use, one-tap style, tightly integrated into Honor's Magic OS, which turns casual photos into shareable bits without needing desktop software. The creative potential and how they nudge ordinary users into making short clips and edits quickly is something that I should give props to Honor. I even dare say that the AI suite of Honor is much better than Samsung's. If you want a mid-ranger that tries to make AI creative and usable straight away, the Honor 400 is a bold pick. But treat the flashy features as fun experiments, not perfect production tools. Play with them, enjoy the clips, and keep an eye on privacy and cloud limits. Let's now look at how the Honor 400 5G performs under the hood. It is powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 chip paired with 12 gigs of RAM, plus a RAM turbo option, and a whopping 512 gig storage option, a serious mid-range powertrain. In real-world use, the Honor 400 runs buttery smooth. Multitasking, productivity, endless social feeds, and games like Asphalt 9 even on the highest graphic settings, all handled gracefully, with no overheats or hiccups. Benchmarks back it up too, with Antutu score of around 867,000, Geekbench 6 single-core at 1,137, and multi-core at 3,150. And a strong GPU scores in OpenCL and Vulkan tests as well. I've said this in my previous phone reviews already, I think most Android applications, approximately maybe 99% of them, are optimized to run seamlessly on modern mid-range chipsets, making flagship processors such as the Snapdragon 8 Elite less of a necessity for the average user. The performance advantages of high-end silicon only become relevant for the very small fraction of applications that demand extreme computational power. In fact, mobile hardware has outpaced software requirements to the point where application workloads rarely scale with each generational leap in chipset performance. As a result, mid-range processors have become sufficient to deliver maximum settings and smooth operation for nearly all use cases. Top-of-the-line chipsets has now become just a bragging rights for benchmarks. And Honor 400 is a living proof of this. For everyday use, productivity, gaming, and scrolling for days, the Honor 400 hits its stride. Smooth, fast, and reliable. It's no flagship racer, but for a mid-ranger under the flagship radar, it punches well above its price tag. Alright. Let's get to the most popular topic when it comes to phones, the camera. The rear setup includes a massive 200-megapixel main camera on a 1/1.4-inch sensor with f1.9 aperture, OIS/NEIS plus a 12-megapixel ultra-wide that doubles as a macro lens. Then up front, we have a 50-megapixel selfie shooter. With good lighting, the main camera captures detailed, vivid shots with excellent dynamic range. Ultra-wide is serviceable and noticeably captures less light as compared to the humongous 200-megapixel main shooter, which obviously can take in more photons. Macro shots are surprisingly great as well. Although the focus when taking macro shot is a hit or miss. Sometimes it focuses on the background more instead of the subject. Portrait shots in both main and ultra-wide can produce professional-level bokeh while keeping the subject crisp and punchy. It's not consistent though, like this shot where the right side is blurred but not the left side. Although Honor 400 does not have a telephoto lens, zoomed crops look surprisingly sharp thanks to that huge sensor. Zoom can be up to a maximum of 30x, where you can activate Super Zoom AI enhancements and let the AI convert the blurry and muddy zoomed-in shot into a sharp image. Just a note, you don't actually need to activate the super zoom anymore as it automatically kicks in when you do a 30x zoom. The 50MP selfie shooter is a delight to vloggers. It can capture 0.8x and 1x and delivers bright, clear, and richly detailed daylight selfies with realistic skin tones and well-balanced exposure. Even with harsh light in the background, it still captures my face in details, which is impressive. For low light, the main camera still delivers sharp, well-exposed, and detailed night shots, especially when paired with OIS and night mode, yielding good dynamic range and minimal blur in most low-light scenarios. In contrast, the ultra-wide sensor produces usable results, but it's noticeably softer, with lower contrast and less detail compared to the main lens. While the selfie camera impresses with accurate skin tones and solid detail even in low light, although it occasionally yields softer images due to fixed focus limitations. On a really low light source situation, just like any other cameras, it renders a noisy image which are almost unusable. Overall, the Honor 400 outpaces the Galaxy A56 and Pixel 9a in resolution, especially for portraits and distant crops, flexing its AI tools and megapixel muscle. For crisp, vibrant stills and fun AI-enhanced zoom and portrait tricks, at a mid-range price, the Honor 400 mostly delivers. It's a photo phone that loves texture, detail, and a little creative flair. Just don't expect cinematic video or zoomed-in perfection on every shot. All three lenses of the Honor 400 can record up to 4K video. Although the 4K video can only be up to 30 FPS. 4K 60 is not allowed. You can switch to 1080p if you want a smooth motion of 60 FPS. Stabilization is a major selling point. Honor advertises Duo IS plus EIS for steadier handheld footage, and the strong electronic stabilization in everyday use is indeed great. I'm running in both footage you're seeing here from main and wide-angle lenses. Although at low light, just like any other cameras in the world, the stabilization suffers especially on the wide-angle lens, while the main lens can still hold its own. On bright daylight and well-lit environments, results are detailed thanks to the big 200-megapixel main sensor and AI processing. Dynamic range and color processing is really good. Although the difference between the wide-angle and main lens is noticeable, where the wide-angle lens has too high shadows and you almost can't see anything in the shaded areas anymore, while the main lens still produces a lot of details in the same area. You can zoom in at a maximum of 10x, but the quality starts to degrade beyond 3 times zoom. You can also boost aperture on video mode to create bokeh effects, but this needs a lot of improvement as the blurring seems to apply just to random parts of the video, and most of the time there's no blurring happening at all. Plus the stabilization seems to have vanished in this mode and switching between lens becomes twitchy. It's very inconsistent and I'd recommend to just stick to zero aperture and use the main lens which creates a bokeh effect naturally anyway. As you have reduced light, the wide-angle lens seems to collapse easily producing a noisy, muddy and dark footages. As you can see here, nearby objects all look like a silhouette. The main lens is better, producing respectable, but not flagship level footage. There's some noise and less dynamic range than daylight footage, as expected. And the lens switching while recording is a bit clumsy, so stick to one focal length for smooth clips. In a totally low light scenario it's the same story. The stabilization suffers more, the wide angle is worse at a level of almost unusable, while the main lens is still decent, but can barely produce any details in dark area anymore. But focusing on area where there's source of light, the main lens still produces great footage.
So this is a test of the selfie camera of the Honor 400 as well as the microphone. Hello mic test mic hello. So this is in wide angle and this is, let's shift.
The 50 megapixel selfie camera produces crisp good dynamic range and detailed footages on a well-lit situation. You can also switch between 0.8x and 1x zoom, which I don't think makes that much of a difference. At low light, the selfie camera, by default, creates this flashlight effect to brighten up the scene. Personally I don't use it, but it's there if you need it. Without the flashlight, this is how the selfie camera looks at a very low light environment. It's basically what would anyone expect, and for me, this selfie footage is much better than what I get from the rear wide-angle lens in the same low light scenario. It's on par, probably slightly better than many mid-range phones out there. Overall for the video performance, the Honor 400 gives great daylight video, solid stabilization, and can produce great clips for vlogs and social media, just avoid the wide-angle lens on dark scenes. Alright. Time to wrap it all up. The Honor 400 5G hits a perfect balance of compact design with a bright OLED screen, great battery life, fast charging, unique and actually useful AI tools, solid Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 performance, top-tier 200 megapixel camera, and good speakers. Priced at $23,000 in the Philippines, it delivers a very compelling value. I highly recommend this phone to the creative users and social media lovers who will use the AI photo and video tools, or anyone wanting a future-proofed mid-range with long battery life and standout camera. Social media users and multimedia consumers who want speed and vibrant visuals will never be wrong in buying the Honor 400. Anyone wanting a stylish, powerful mid-range phone with a top-notch display and excellent photo capabilities, plus fun AI features, should definitely have this phone on their short list. However, if flagship-level gaming, telephoto zoom, or wireless charging are must-haves, consider reining in your expectations, or stepping up to something like the Honor 400 Pro version, or better yet, if your budget can afford it, go with a flagship phone like the Magic 7 Pro. Also take note that Honor 400 has no IP water and dust protection rating, no headphone jack, video isn't top tier, and the fingerprint sensor is good but not flawless. In case these items are important to you, this phone might not be for you. All in all, the Honor 400 5G is a playful yet polished mid-range gem that brings AI flair without the premium price tag. This is a strong contender as the best mid-range phone of the year. If you enjoy this video, give me a thumbs up. If it has helped you in any way, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Nilasuj for watching. Noba Air.